must have been walking for more than an hour now, but no matter how far I've gone, I still can't calm down. My fingers ache from being clenched into fists for so long. My palms sting from where my nails have dug into them. Relax, Frederick. Relax. It was just a stupid saucer match. It wasn't a regulation match. You technically won. The only thing that's bothering you is that your father didn't see it as a victory the way the rest of the whole city did. It doesn't matter what he thinks. Right. It does not matter. I'm still the best sorcerer there is. I'm the highest ranked player in a generation. I faced off against a trained soldier and won. By the way, if father could have just held his tongue, I don't mind advice. But to call it a loss of all things? It was just a stupid sorcerer match. It does not matter. It does not matter. It does not... like hell it doesn't! I am going to bury that whore next time! Janice Wolf, mark my words, woman. I will remember you. I will not forget this insult. Humiliation for you, not for me. And that meteor spell. Of course I would have flattened her with meteor if I could have ever studied the technique, but that it weren't banned by regulation. Rules, woman. It was a sorcerer match. What was a commander of a God's damned special forces unit doing in a sorcerer match? Father did this to spite me, I know it. I thought I would make him happy by performing for his birthday celebration, but apparently he only wanted to humiliate me for his own entertainment. The pavement underneath my feet is sticky. The ball of light above that pole glares too much. The sound of music coming out of the cafe across the street is off-key. That omnibus pulled up to the stop too steeply, and that conservatoire student getting on the omnibus looks like a blithering idiot. What the hell is it with these damned people pissing me off? I just keep going wherever my feet take me. Occasionally people stare at me, but I manage to ignore them. What, have they never seen a lord before? But I stop. Something occurs to me. I try to take in my surroundings, but there's barely anything to take in. I am practically standing on dirt. The ground grinds beneath my feet. I can feel it when I walk. There are no balls of light that illuminate this alley. If it wasn't for the oil lamps hung widely apart on the wall, the area would be utterly dark. There are no flying carriages. There are no omnibuses. The street is silent. Only little murmurs from people nearby can be faintly heard. The people around me are wearing clothes that aren't fit for modern civilization. I am not an Overture anymore. At least not the Overture that I know. Something feels wrong here. I should turn around and go back to the city. Back to my father's mansion. But I don't turn back. Frederick Godwin doesn't turn back for anything. I start walking again, now more conscious of where I'm going. I am, after all, treading on foreign land. Wherever I walk, people's heads turn. No doubt they have never seen a lord before up close. A little boy tries to approach me, but his mother quickly stops him. They are both dressed in little more than rags. Finally, I understand what that feeling of wrongness was. It wasn't the filth or the darkness. It was something much more fundamental than that. There is no magic here. None of these people use magic. There are no magic machines in sight. What's going on here? I've never felt so out of place before.
Oi, look! It's an aristocrat!
Though there are people murmuring all around, this comment was said loud enough for me to hear. It was intentional. I stop and turn. The man who just spoke is dressed somewhat differently from the others. I wouldn't say he's dressed better than anyone else, but somehow he stands out. He's wearing a uniform of some kind. Another man in similar outfit stands beside him, watching me. The two men come nearer to me. The man speaks again.
Oi, kid! What are you doing in this place? Are you lost?
I look down at the man. Who is he to question me?
A gutsy bourgeois. Hasn't anyone ever told you not to wander into prole's areas? Haven't you ever heard of Libertan? They don't like bourgeoisie like you.
Proles? I see. Of course. So this is where the proletariat lives. No wonder there is no magic. It's not that they can't use magic. They just don't have the money to buy mana potions. Everyone knows that the proles are the dregs of society. But he mentioned something called Libertan. I have not heard of that group. He said Libertan hates people like me. Are you Libertan? This time they're the ones who stay quiet. But I can tell that the answer is yes. So, they hate me? Well then, I'll hate them too. I start infusing willpower to the mana in my body and expel as much magical aura as the mana generates. All of a sudden, I'm the brightest thing on the street. Let that be a warning for them. The man who talked to me seems ready to fight, but the other Libertan member speaks to him in a low voice.
Not here. There are people everywhere.
Heeding his friend's words, the first man relaxes his posture, though his glare remains fierce.
Right, understood.
He walks away, clicking his tongue. The second man tries to stare me down for a second. His eyes seem to carry higher authority than the first man's. But then he too turns around and follows his friend. I watch the two of them head into an alley. Soon, they're enveloped in the shadows of the close-packed buildings, and I can't see them anymore. Ignoring the prole's increasingly audible whispers, I continue walking down the dimly lit street. Before my encounter with Libertan, the proles were looking at me curiously. Now they turn their heads away or cast their eyes down whenever I walk near. I try not to look at them either, keeping my eyes on the path ahead. I'm not afraid of anyone, but I also don't want to cause a scene needlessly. After a few blocks, I come across a narrow space between two buildings. It is only wide enough for one person to walk through, and it is almost completely black in there. However, there is a light coming from the far end of the alley. With it comes the sounds of people laughing and singing. I come closer and see an arrow-shaped sign pointing into the alley. It reads, Meson de Bua. Since I don't see anything more interesting around, I enter the alley and look for this maison. Not only is the alley dark, it also stinks. It's hard to believe that there is a place like this in Overture, mere miles from where my family lives. I stumble over an old man sleeping in the alley. He is virtually cocooned in rags and trash, and rattles off some bewildered moans as I walk over him. How anyone could sleep at as filthy place as here, I will never know. I quicken my pace. I didn't think the poor were quite so destitute. Outside the alley, I see a mansion that looks quite out of place amid the dirty and broken houses. There are signs of wear and tear, but it still looks luxurious in comparison. To my surprise, I see a group of gentlemen who obviously aren't proles entering the establishment. They might even be my fellow lords, judging from how they're dressed. Once they're at the front door, a scantily clad middle-aged woman emerges from inside the mansion and greets them. Despite showing too much skin, the woman's dress is that of a lady. She talks with the gentlemen for a few seconds and gestures them inside. As she goes to follow them inside, however, she notices my presence. She approaches me with a seductive smile. I'm disgusted by it, to be honest. Makeup is caked on her face to hide her years. But even in the dim light of the courtyard, I can see she's old enough to be my mother.
Oi, hello there, young man. I welcome you to my home, the Meson de Bua.
This is your house?
Yes, and you may call me Madame Bouvoire.
She says this with a flourish. I can't tell if it's a drunken flourish or one of those flourishes you have to practice at.
I wanted to say, nice to meet you. But it is only really nice if...
She brings her lips close to my ears and lowers her voice to a whisper.
you come inside.
She pulls her face back after blowing softly into my ears. It makes my eyebrows twitch and my nose wrinkle. What is this place?
What do you mean, darling?
The woman is stunned for a moment. Then she starts laughing.
Are you for true? How did you get to here, little boy?
She stops laughing, stares at me sharply, and whispers again in her broken, but not unpleasant accent.
You want to know what kind of place is my house, do you now?
I don't answer her because I feel like she is mocking me. Besides, I'm starting to get an idea.
It is where we turn little boys like you into a real man.
She gestures at me with her shoulders and flashes a naughty smile. Some people might call it sexy. I wouldn't.
So you want to come in?
No, not interested. I try to leave, but the madame grabs my wrist.
Oh no, you haven't even come in and seen the Ashegads. Don't worry, young little lord. I have all kinds of girls in my maison. Some of them will suit your eye taste, I promise.
She's a very insistent saleswoman. I've got to admit that it's rather tempting to just go in and, look around. But no, after tonight, I need to be more disciplined, not less. I'm not going to spend any time with these filthy whores. Besides, the gentlemen I saw earlier looked like they might be lords. If my father should hear about my being here, he would put me in a seminary in the neighboring kingdom in a heartbeat. No, now get your hand off me, woman.
Well, that's too bad. But why don't you take these?
She hands me a tiny piece of paper.
So you can find your way back here someday, huh?
She saunters back to the door. Before going inside, she turns and blows me a kiss. I deign to wave back. The kiss was disgusting, to be honest. After she's gone, I just stand staring at the maison. The street outside is brightened by the light seeping out of the maison's windows and made lively by the sounds of women coming from inside. There's laughing, shouting, moaning. Ugh. The maison's address is scribbled on the paper the woman gave me. I won't ever come back here. But I put the paper inside my pocket anyway. This town can't afford to be even dirtier than it already is. The sky is black now. The moon and the stars aren't visible from where I'm standing. There is only blackness. Strange enough, there is a certain grandness one can feel from the pure blackness. It looks majestic. The dark sky reminds me how late it is. It's time I went home. Just as I turned away to leave, however, my eyes fall on an angel. A very lovely girl strolls through this unseemly street, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She smiles with an ease that makes her seem brighter than all the lights in Meson. Her delicate hand plays lightly with the small braid of hair running behind her ear. Is this girl also a worker at Meson? Isn't she a little young? Besides, she isn't dressed like a harlot. But there are no other reasons for a young girl to visit a place like this. Maybe she is just passing through? I keep watching the little angel. How she steps, how her arms swing so carefree, how her hair flutters as she walks, how her face glitters with an easy happiness even in this slum. She's beautiful. No, it's more than that. I've beheld beauty itself. Finally, she stops right at Meson's door. Without knocking, she takes the door's handle, pushes the door open, and steps inside.
I'm home. I announced that in a very, very small voice. Saying I'm home is a habit I've had since I was still a little kid, but I don't really like saying it in this particular house.
Yeah! Help me!
A young woman runs across the lobby screaming. She's naked.
I'm gonna get ya!
And then a man twice her age runs after her. He's naked too, of course. I don't know what kind of role-playing they're doing today. I won't be asking.
Oh, Elise, you're back early. How was your work?
I turned to see the woman who called my name. It's Madame Bouvoire. Oh, you know, same as usual.
That sounds like my day. Business as usual.
Yeah, I can see that. Unfortunately, naked old men chasing naked screaming girls is business as usual here at Meson. Madame Bouvoire gives me a smile and then prances over to attend to a group of aristocrats. Madame Edith de Beauvoir is the owner of this brothel, but occasionally she still takes customers herself, especially if the customers are famous lords. Indeed, although she's already past 30, the madam is gorgeous. Her demeanor and her manner of speaking are also very elegant, like a lady in the house of a lord. Despite her age, she is the most expensive prostitute in the Meson de Bua. I owe my life to the madam. If she hadn't taken me in after I was abandoned by my parents, I don't know what kind of life I would be leading now. I probably wouldn't even be alive. I mean, sure, I would like to have a normal home, but at least here I can sleep under a roof instead of in an alley somewhere. When she took me in, Madam also agreed not to make me work since I got a job at the factory. Well, until I turned 16, that is. On my 16th birthday, she is going to make me serve my first customer, and she already has a list of high bidders. My birthday is in less than 3 months. With nothing else to do, I drag myself upstairs and waddle past a series of doors on my left. Each room is occupied at this hour. Each contains a customer and a girl. No matter how many times I hear the sounds from beyond these doors, I cringe. I'll never be comfortable with it. A door opens in front of me. The young, naked, screaming woman from before comes out of the room. Now, though, she isn't naked and she isn't screaming. It's a nice change of pace for her.
Oh, hey, Elise.
Hi. Where did the man go?
Oh, he had to leave through the window because the Dementors were coming for him.
The who?
It's part of our roleplay. Never mind.
I'm also wondering how she emerged from a room on the 2nd floor when I last saw her running across the lobby. But no, I won't ask. She leans on the wall. Looking up at the ceiling, she mutters something with a sigh. She looks exhausted.
Sleeping with that geezer is one thing, but being chased around the house naked is really taking a toll on me. You have no idea how easy it is to slip on these floors if you're not wearing any shoes.
Why do you keep servicing him then? With her head still turned up, she glances at me and answers matter-of-factly.
Because his tip is bigger than his cock?
Uh-huh. I look down and notice that her dress is torn. Blood is dripping from a small cut on her skin. Oh, you're bleeding.
Yeah, he got a little aggressive back there.
I bring my right hand to her wound. A small benefit of working at the factory is that I get to drink mana potions every day. Most of it is spent by the end of the work shift, but sometimes I get to go home with a little mana remaining in my body. Today is one of those days. I focus on compassion while my last bit of mana starts accumulating in my hand. Transform. There's a soft glow of light around her wound, and when it fades, there's no more cut, not even a scar.
Wow. Thank you, Elise. Good thing you had some mana left today.
You're welcome. It didn't fix your torn dress, though.
Well, magic can't fix everything, can it? Too bad, though. If magic could fix inanimate things, I could look like a princess even on my days off.
Well, she looks relieved to have been healed and doesn't seem too concerned about her dress, so I'm happy. Yeah, it would be nice, right? Compassion magic only works on people, plants, and animals. The gods know I've tried curing my laundry of sweat and dirt with a cure spell, but it never works.
But oh, I wonder if your magic could restore my... you know?
She's giggling naughtily. What is she talking about? Your what?
Never mind. I think I should get to my next customer. Thanks, Elise.
She goes downstairs to greet a customer who has just entered the lobby. I head to my room. Soon I come upon a set of small stairs. They lead to the attic, where I live. This attic is where I've been living since coming to the Meson 6 years ago. It's hardly a palace, but, well, it has a bed at least. And compared to all the other rooms, it's relatively quiet and isolated. I collapse onto my bed. I probably should take a bath and change into a different set of clothes before sleeping. But right now, I'm feeling very exhausted. I can still hear obscene sounds from below. Occasionally, they are accompanied by annoying high-pitched laughter from young women and incoherent slurs from drunk men. In less than 3 months, I will be joining the chorus of that annoying high-pitched laughter. I don't want to think about that right now. Right now, all I want to do is... I open my eyes. My room is bathed in sunlight. I groggily sit up and just sort of wait until I have enough energy to stand. Once I manage to do that, I grab a towel and a fresh uniform. It's only then that I realize I'm still wearing my factory clothes from yesterday. I go downstairs thinking about how unpleasant it is to change out of work clothes just to change back into work clothes. Meson in the morning is actually pleasant. It is so much different from the place it becomes at night. For one thing, it's quieter when there are no patrons around to start naked games of hide and seek. That's not to say that all traces of last night are gone. Bottles of booze and cigarette butts are scattered around. There's also a topless girl snoring on the couch over there. When I get to the bathroom, I peek inside first. Sometimes you find a passed out girl here, too. Thankfully, it's empty today, so I go in. I come out of the bathroom changed into a cleaner set of the same clothes I was just wearing. It's a small change, but I feel refreshed. I leave Meson after drinking a glass of water in the kitchen. I always skip breakfast. The morning air outside feels nice. Apparently, people who aren't from around here can smell something foul in the air, even on days like this. But we proles hardly notice it anymore. Meson has its own large courtyard, but the street that runs along it is pretty out of the way. I have to go to a wider street closer to the city to get to the nearest omnibus stop. The factory I work at is actually located in the proles district, but it is faster to take the omnibus from the city than to trudge through a tangled maze of narrow alleys. Along my way, I see a group of men and women sitting on the wayside. Good morning! They smile and wave at me. People around here used to scowl at me if they saw me entering or leaving Meson, but now they're quite friendly. Either they've heard about my circumstances or they've just stopped caring. There are already a couple of other factory workers waiting at the omnibus stop when I get there. The factory has thousands of workers, so I don't know anyone else waiting here with me. I only recognize them from their uniforms, and I'm sure they wouldn't know me either if they saw me in my normal clothes. Still, we exchange smiles as a greeting. Before long, I see the omnibus arriving. I get on the floating platform. Actually, sometimes I still find the omnibus scary. The platform wobbles every time someone steps on it, and also I feel much lighter than normal after I get on. And I always worry about what would happen if the driver suddenly ran out of mana. I know that's a silly thought. The bourgeois never run out of mana like we proles do, but still. The air outside the omnibus shifts all of a sudden, and we're carried forward. In a few seconds, the omnibus starts to pick up speed. After making a few stops to pick up and drop off passengers, the omnibus reaches an intersection where it should turn left towards the factory. However, I noticed that the street is closed today. There's some government workers there. They look like they're installing a new magic machine. The omnibus makes a right turn instead. Oh, we're taking a detour through the city center! I haven't seen this part of the city in such a long time. Everything outside my window is so shiny. Even at noon, the places where we proles live never look like this. The center of Overture is like a place out of a fairy tale. Huge, high buildings that you have to strain to see the tops of, and even taller towers that pierce high into the sky. I'm captivated by it all. Even the sidewalks are beautiful to me. I see some people flying in their own private carriages instead of taking the omnibus, and they're all wearing really beautiful dresses. Even the people who are walking down the street look classy. I also notice a lot of police officers. There's at least one of them on every street corner. That makes sense. Since everyone is capable of using magic in the city, the police have to be around to deal with anyone who misuses magic. The omnibus pulls up to another stop. Some passengers get off while new passengers get on the platform. The omnibus sways as it tries to compensate for the shifting weight. My stomach doesn't like this at all. Among the new passengers, there's a young boy and a young girl who look slightly older than me. From their uniforms, I guess they're students. The two teenagers sit next to each other.
I'm sure saying your name will chase away my nervousness, only to be replaced by a paralyzing fear so that I can't even speak or move. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. You'll say my name and you'll stiffen right up.
The day we stop asking why not will be the day we stop innovating, which may also be, well, the day we stop advancing as a civilization.
Magical Mechanical?
What other MM would attend a science conference?
Hi, Dr. Blyden. I didn't know you'd be coming.
But I wouldn't miss my cute Franz's presentation for the world.
Like mother, like daughter.
Let's Start Project.